Greetings, greetings, greetings. Greetings. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So we're gonna jump into greetings. Greetings. Who was the other greetings?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. So we're gonna jump into greetings. Hold on one second. I have okay. The other greetings. Okay, hold on. I see what's going on. Hold on. Hold on. I see what's going on. So we're gonna jump into greetings. Hold on one second. I have okay. The other greetings. Okay, hold on. I see what's going on. Hold on. Hold on. I see what's going on. Can you hear me?
Yes, you. I can hear you.
Okay, I tried something. I'm. I don't think it's doing what I wanted to do. But anyway, we're gonna jump right into it. I was trying again to go live, but I'm convinced. I learned my devices are outdated, very, not just my phone. So I'm gonna be slightly forced to probably having to get a another another computer here soon. But however, we're gonna go on and we're gonna get started. Um, we're gonna go on and get started. We thank you all for tuning in this evening to Letha's Real Talk. My name is Letha. We have one of our co-hosts on tonight, Miss Frederica. She's here. She'll be chiming in and out when she can. Mr. Justin, he may or may not be able to participate, but if not, we do want to take a moment, and I want to give these two people kudos. I want to give them kudos. Yeah, we got a good subject, but I want to give these two people kudos. Want to give Justin kudos. Justin had been taking classes for a series of a while, and he was able to take classes while he gets on different platforms. He was able to take all these classes while he works, and he takes care of his children, and he participates in a lot of men groups. So I want to give him kudos for doing that. Frederica, I want to give her kudos because Frederica works multiple jobs. And she's a mom as well. She's a band parent, and she's stepping into some things that she has been wanting to step into for a while, some of which she ventured off into some open poetry or spoken word about a week or 2 weeks ago. So I was not able to be there. But I want to take a moment and just give them thanks and give y'all thanks. The reason I want to take a moment and do that is because these people take time out of their busy schedule to be here present with me. And for them being here present with me, it really, really does mean a lot. It means a lot. Um, like Frederica has volunteered here if I need help on some things, which I probably would be needing her help with because clearly it's a lot of things that I think I know how to do, and my patience level gets to zero real fast, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to be bothered with this stuff anymore. But to move forward, um, team, team, and togetherness and coming together, which is our what we're talking about tonight. We want to talk about tonight where we are actually talking about compassion, and we're having empathy for all people. The world needs more love, the world needs more compassion. am so confused right now with things that are going on. And I have been convicted these past I don't even know how long, because it's easy to say something and have ideas about how you think things ought to get done until you actually see people going through things, till you actually see things happening. Like, I was born in the 70s. I'm a 70s baby. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I feel like we're in the 40s and 50s right now. And that's just me personally. And I'm not going political. I'm coming from a humane standpoint. So I'm not advocating for anything other than humanity. I am truly distraught about things that are happening, and innocent people are losing their lives right in front of us while cameras are going. And the only thing that our brother is on. Hey, our brother is on. He didn't get to hear me give him a shout out, but I think we might be going live. So he'll eventually get to hear me give him a shout out eventually. Hey, Justin, we
Hey,
kind of commended you. I was commending you and Frederica for a minute about how y'all actually multitask and still make space for to be here
yes,
present
ma'am.
right now. But what I was basically talking about is, togetherness and how we come together. And I mentioned how I stand convicted on so many different things because in my brain, I've had things mapped out in my brain how I think things should go. And now these things are going on. And I'm like, I was born in the 70s. I was like real life born in the 70s. So I was like, I was raised in the 80s and 90s. And I feel like we're in the 40s and 50s era, and I'm not advocating for a party or anything. I'm concerned about humanity and what's going on right now because people are dying before us in front of our eyes. And I just wish the power trips, the control, the hate, I wish this stuff would stop. These things, it makes me wonder, did this stuff ever stop? And the answer is no. Like I know it never stopped. Okay. We know it never stopped. But to live in it is one thing to read a history book about it. Then we know we had the Rodney King situation, and we know we had the what's his name? I can't breathe.
Eric Gardner.
Yeah. What I'm in my opinion, is just one time is too many times. But it's being done intentionally.
Yeah.
That and I'm like, I, I f- I think we need to focus a little bit on empathy and compassion. Um, I talked to a gentleman earlier. He'll eventually join us, but not this evening because he's a busy guy and he made a post earlier. I'm not gonna call his name because I don't know if I can call his name. But he's the one that we're able to use his song, and song was just featured on the movie Coincidence. That's on Tubi. Have had the song now for probably over a year. He's allowed us to use it at our discretion. But anyway, saw something that he said, and I kind of commented on the post, and he called and he like, okay, Letha, this is not what I'm saying. This is like what I'm saying, right? So, and this was like tonight. So this is like after we decided we was gonna discuss this, because I'm like, I'm trying to absorb some people's mindset on things that are going on. It's like it's I don't like it, and I know I can't change what I don't like seeing, but I just wish more people had more empathy. I
Mhm.
cannot, nobody is going to make me feel a certain type of way about Frederica. I
Right.
determine how I feel about her on my own.
Right.
It doesn't matter. I have to judge people based off what I see and what I know in the moment. And I don't know if I don't know, sand dust been sprinkled on some people's heads before they got I don't I don't know, but I really believe that this world needs a little bit more empathy and a little bit more compassion, because it's it's causing more hate and more division. And my fear is it causes more concern when it comes to possible police brutality, period. And I came out and I said it.
Mm.
It's like you almost can't look up straight. You almost can't walk down the sidewalk. It's just like I'm feel so convicted about a lot of feelings that I had. I told a young lady earlier, I got my own personal woes on stuff we do because there's some things that I've been kind of traumatized from, right? But I would not want nobody to go through what we have read in history books, from things that we have seen off and on since we was kids, to the and it's never stopped. The thing about it is we got phones and it's a camera always going. This it just never stops. And I am very concerned where this world is going. And I really don't know if it's anything that people could do. And I'm not being negative or condescending. I don't even know if there's anything people could do to even slow it down, let alone stop it.
Right.
And it's kind of like I do my best if I'm out in public to be careful how I treat people. I'm like that anyway. I'm very afraid for more innocent lives to be lost, all for standing up for humanity. Because I've said it once, I've said it before, just because it's law don't make it right. There are a lot
Mm.
of things that are legal that are immoral. There are a lot of laws written that have nothing to do with morality. Like I've been saying this for years, but I'm over this power and this control and the divisiveness and the hate and the who wants to show who can run what. This is what's going to happen if you don't do as I say, do it. I don't know. And I just, think that we could take a moment and just reflect on humanity. I this is not human like. None of us perfect, but it's almost like it's an intentional intent to kill off anything that's humane. And those are my feelings. I know my feelings are not factual, but I also know that it's causing a lot of grief, divisiveness, chaos, stress, more hatred that's been buried there. And I don't think all of this hatred has been buried. I think some people are taking things that they've been dealing with and they use not, and it doesn't make it fair, it makes it even worse. I use my issues as an opportunity to attack you, all because somebody said I could, all because I can get a pass, all because I'm gonna get off. I don't know what could be done on a larger scale.
Mm. I
Like
think
what
that
could be done? I'm listening.
I like you, I don't know what can be done. I think that I think it would require people to see each other as people. And I honestly at points in my life tried to like not view myself how media and culture taught me to view myself as a black man. However, when I remove my feelings and look at the facts, um, there does seem to be a lot of people who are melanated like I am not coming out of situations alive. And when I look at, you know, other people who go through similar situations, justice does seem to side more on one side than the other. Um, and it's one of those things where I'm in a space where all I feel that can happen is I can pray about it. I don't feel that anything, I don't know anything else to do. We've had leaders step up and try to speak on it, and we see the outcome that happens to them. They either get they either get unalived, or the waters are muddied on them so bad that nobody listens to them, as if the message about justice is wrong just because you're dealing with a human being who has human issues. And so, can there be more compassion? I hope so. Um, I hope that we can have compassion on ourselves, on our community, on our people, and then spread that compassion throughout. And hopefully, that compassion is infectious and and save some lives. Because yeah, this particular subject is one that I feel like I've been kind of forced to think about. Like when I drive down the street, and I know I haven't done anything, but I actively worry about being pulled over and the wrong move happening, because I've seen where you can do everything right and still come out of that situation not alive. Um, and so Yeah, I'm not really sure. I outside of praying, um, and asking for divine intervention for humanity as a collective, I don't know anything else to do. Not me.
Yeah, it's like we have conversations, which is what we're doing. Um, and it's troubling that we're living in the present moment of the experience. Cause to sit down and have a conversation about things for preventative measures, all this stuff sound good and great, right? But to actively be in it and to see it happening,
Yeah.
it's like, what do people do? People that have people that have um s- stepped up in some instances. Um, I don't think it's right that people comment about what somebody should not have done and this probably would not have happened. I, I get it, but to me, that's just too much lack of empathy in this present moment. Because what if somebody never stood up for nobody at all?
Right.
What if nobody ever advocated for anything at all? What if nobody never marched and never protested at all? What if people just took it just for what it was at face value and just never did anything at all?
Yeah.
You know, I just don't understand in today's time. And I know evil is among us. I know, I get it. But I just don't know in today's time. And I'm a come out and I'm gonna say something from a racial point of view. This is fixing to be racial, what I'm about to say. And this is just my personal racial opinion. As a black person, to see who I see is happening to, that's even more scary.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not saying in any shape, form, or fashion that anybody is above any other race. What I'm saying is to see who is doing it to who, that makes it even scarier.
Yeah.
Because I think y'all know by now, I try not to dwell on this black white issue and all this kind of stuff.
Hmm.
But to see white people dying at the hands of white people, one is a police agent or whatever you want to call it, and the other is a citizen out here advocating for somebody
A nurse.
in broad daylight
Yeah.
after you took this gun. The gun was removed, even though he posed no threat. And I to see that happen, is very, very, very even more concerning because of who it was. It's beyond scary to me. And these situations have always been scary to me. I've always told my children, you ever get pulled over, you don't raise no lot of questions. You got a ticket or something ain't been paid, you just shut your mouth. You just do what them people tell you to do. You don't ask no lot of questions. Don't talk about nothing because that's not how I've told them. If it gets to that point, we do with it in court. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But we're talking about people advocating for their belief of humanity. And this last incident was that I heard something else happen today. I'm like, I don't even want to watch. I don't my heart and my brain can't absorb all of this. It's too much back to back to back. And these are not people that I know, but like, how could you not have compassion for people?
They're people.
Somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's father, somebody's something. And the world just, the powers that be move on as if it's not a big deal. And I would have never thought at my age, in the time frame of less than 60, 70 years, that history is officially repeating itself. And it's repeating itself almost 2.0 or
Mhm.
to a whole nother level. I don't know. I think that I want people to know that for us as a collective, people can go back and watch older videos and look, we're diverse. We try not to be out there who blah blah blah, even though when there were times people have had differences of opinions.
Mhm.
Um, in my own family, we have differences of opinions. How much anger could be built up inside of an individual to just want to kill somebody that pose no absolute threat? And not one person did this, multiple people, because nobody did anything to stop what was happening. And I'll tell anybody, don't ever think it can't happen to you and your family. See, people out here doing these acts, don't ever think, don't ever think you can't be broke. Don't ever think you can't get sick. Don't ever think your car can't get repoed and you can't get evicted. Don't ever think that the hurt, harm, and danger that you push off on somebody else, that it can't happen to you and your family just because you got a mask on your face. It could still happen to you and your family. Somebody know who they are. And I literally would be afraid to do that to anybody because of the fear that I would have to bring that on my family. And then had the audacity. Like, this is where I'm coming with this humanity point. We can all agree to disagree. I don't care what your title is. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your sexual preference is. I don't care what your religious preference is. I don't care what your political preference is. I don't care about any of that. But let's just be real. When people blatantly see and saw what happened, at this point, everybody is a target.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, are these conversations we need to be having with younger people? They seeing it.
Yeah.
Like they're seeing it. I don't know. I'm afraid. I'm to the point that younger people need to see the video and be told this is why you don't question nothing and nobody. Because if they do it to them, they'll do it to you. And it's sad that I'm saying that, but in my humble opinion, it's the truth.
Unfortunately, it's, what you're saying is how it looks like that's about the only way to live through it. And with the particular group that's doing a lot of it, it's how far away from home are you before they realize who you are? You know what I'm saying? If you sit silent, but then if you say something and they got their mind made up, they can make it where you never go home again. And that's like you said, that's scary. It's not fun to have to think about it, and it's not fun to have to experience. It's I think about Dr. Joy DeGruy. She popularized the PTSS, post traumatic slave syndrome, and she talks about how epigenetically that stuff is trapped in the descendants of slaves' bodies. And watching this stuff happen now seems to have a deeper effect on us because of the history. You know what I'm saying? The history, the the information we are aware of, the fact that we watch people try to whitewash it and act
Mhm,
like it didn't happen.
mhm,
And again, I'm like you. I'm not a fan of the whole race conversation. I wish that that wasn't a thing, but I had to step back and realize while it's not everybody, it's enough people for people to be unalived, and that's an issue. You know
mhm,
what I'm saying? And like you said, when you see it start happening to other people and they still get away with it, that's hard to deal with.
mhm,
That's a hard pill to swallow. And it's hard to it kind of puts it in your face, sits it in your lap, and says, what now? For people like myself who try to, you know, try to see it a different way and try to understand it from another person's shoes, it's like while I'm open to understanding, you got to explain that to me.
mhm.
Because if they can't get justice, how do we even try to think we can? I would love for somebody to answer that. How do we try to think we can? And then what is justice to somebody who's not here anymore?
Nothing.
Your family get a check? I don't know anybody whose family would give up the life of their loved one for a check. And like I said, the compassion is a necessity. How do you get it? I don't know. Me, I don't know. So like I said, I wish that this was a subject that I could have a spin on that would make it easier to deal with, but it would be hypocritical of me to act like I don't ride around every day passing police officers, knowing I've done nothing wrong, but worried about getting pulled over, even having done nothing wrong. Because I know as a 6 foot, 200 plus pound black man, I fit the description. I know I fit the description. You know,
Mhm.
I thought he had I thought he had a gun. We watched them manipulate body camera footage. We watched
Mhm.
them say the trigger words.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
know, you move the body camera around, and while it's moving around and not focused in, he's got a gun. Then the gunshots go off. And
Mhm.
what does it matter that it wasn't a gun or that he didn't have one after he's not here anymore?
Mhm.
And I think, like I could empathize with the officers who want to go home too. I can empathize with that, but some of this stuff, like that situation with the gentleman you're talking about,
Mhm.
y'all took the gun. Where was the threat? Y'all had it.
Mhm.
So how somebody is not locked up already? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the concern that I have, you know. Um, I just don't know. Like, it's not giving up hope, but it's like we've been having conversations for years. Talk is cheap.
Yeah.
I'm not being a negative person, but I told a young lady the other day, unfortunately, in my opinion, I think it's going to get worse.
I wish I didn't. I wish I had the words to say or the proof to say something different. That's one of those things I just hope to make it through it. I don't know how to think about it any other way. I
Yeah, I
wish I
remember the
did, but
movie
I don't.
Equalizer, the first Equalizer.
With Denzel.
Yeah, and he wanted to help the young lady, right? He went in there and they was prostituting out and stuff, and so he wanted to um he wanted to, he understood she owed, he, wanted to give him this money. And they was like, no, and he ended up, beating up some of the bad guys or whatever. So once he done that, it's like he brought a lot of havoc, on himself. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then when he ended up at the end of the movie, he ended up getting to, like, he even ended up defeating the guy that sit from the top guy, right? And so when he went and made it to the top guy's place, and the guy offered him money. And he said, I don't want your money. And he said, what do you want? He said, the head of the snake. And the man said, in the movie, what do you get by getting rid of me? And Denzel say, peace. This chaos, this turmoil, this stuff being put in your face, in the era of cell phones, these these dehumanizing tactics, this want to, consume people's mind, the evilness. It has gotten so far to a point that people think it's okay. Because let me tell you something, it's making other people a little comfortable.
Very. And it comes through in the conversation.
Oh, it's making other people look comfortable now. I this was back during the summer. Was it the summer, spring? I was taking a walk out there where I work at Frederica. Was walking in the parking lot, and these group of young ladies drove by me and barked. Mm-hmm. 3 of them. They did right there in Kroger Park, right there in the end of Kroger. I was walking from, trying to get me some steps in, honey. They barked at me, honey. And I said if I could have ran, I'd have got the tag number and posted it all in Rankin County groups and all on the internet. If I could have been able to run. People getting a little bit too comfortable. People been comfortable, but this stuff is making people too comfortable. Because basically what is being portrayed is, if this who I agree with and this who I like, I can do whatever I want to do. But to see that man get slaughtered,
That was a slaughter.
it was a slaughter from somebody else's phone. Because like we say, you can get rid of the police cams and stuff. Luckily, somebody else was recording.
Right.
And to hear people say that he was wrong, there is no empathy, there is no compassion. I don't care. I don't know how you could even look out for the nation that your forefathers stole and even have compassion, even in their name. I don't even see it. I don't see it. Because now who trying to outdo who? Who we trying to rewrite history or something? No, not rewrite it. Well, we trying to be in some books or something? You're going to be in books anyway.
Yeah.
Frederica, you got any insight, beautiful?
Yes. In listening to everything, I was thinking back, well, you all know it's Black History Month. So the first thing that always comes to my mind, when we're talking about compassion, and of course, all the things that happened, during the civil rights movement and different things like that. But of course, everybody knows who Ruby Bridges is. She was the um, little girl who integrated an all white elementary school. And the name of that elementary school was, I would think it was France Elementary School in New Orleans. But history will sometimes forget about the other ones that also integrated an all white high school in New Orleans that same day. And it was I think it was like 3 or 4 blocks from where Ruby Bridges integrated. And those 3 little girls were Leona Tate, Gail, forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, Gail Etienne and Tessie Prevost. And they are known as the McDonough Three. They integrated an all white high school, an all white elementary school, McDonough number 19 in New Orleans on the same day as Ruby Bridges.
Mm.
but everybody only remembers Ruby Bridges. Now imagine these four Black girls in history are having to every single day, they're having to be escorted by federal marshals because these white people don't want them at this school. So of course, just like the Ruby Bridges story, when all of the parents pulled their kids out of that school because they didn't want them to go to school with a white girl, the same thing happened to the other three girls a few blocks just down the road, literally. So when we talk about compassion and history possibly repeating itself, and I look at most of the curriculums nowadays, they don't teach Black history. They don't teach about slavery. They don't teach about the civil rights movement. They don't teach our children their history because they don't want them to know where they come from. They don't want them to know how bad we had it. They want to paint a different picture. And I'm using they instead of white people because it's not just white folks that want to change our history. It's some of us too, some brown people too, orange people. Yeah. It's everybody that tries to erase Black history. And I've always heard the saying that if you don't know where you've been, how can you know where you're going? And history is repeating itself. If we look all around us, it's repeating itself in so many different ways. And it's important to teach kids the history of what happened, regardless of what race of people it happened to. It's important to teach that. How else can we truly teach compassion if we don't teach the real history, the entire thing, not just the part where it makes us look like the superheroes or them look like superheroes and us look like the villain. Teach them all of it so that they can understand it from all sides and all different perspectives. And a lot, like I said, a lot of that just comes from just simply knowing your history, knowing where you come from. Because of people that don't know the history are just they're set up for failure. They're doomed to just not do good things. So just have compassion and love for your fellow man. And also too, you don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know what somebody's going through, what they've been through. You just don't know. You just don't know what people are going through nowadays. Because a lot of times people don't put their business out there. If they're like me, I'm very introverted, so I don't really talk to people like that. I know it's kind of hard to believe, but you just never know. Love everybody regardless of what they look like on the outside, what race they are. Just love people. Having compassion, you can have compassion for someone and love them from a distance. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a little, you know, I love you, but I love you over there.
Mhm.
You can have compassion for somebody and still not be around them. And that's okay. And honestly, that's okay. Um, but I just know that whole situation, just watching those videos from different angles, it was hard. That was so hard because, and again, Letha, I'm like you. I don't mean to make it racial, but it's when you see it happen to so many Black men day in and day out, sometimes you become so numb because you're so used to seeing that. I'm so used to seeing Black men get slaughtered to the point I'm just numb to it. I still have compassion for it, but I'm numb at the same time. And
Mhm.
to see that happen to someone who was not of my race, I was like, wow. Like, wow. Like I don't know if I don't really know how to describe the feeling, but it was just like a wow moment. Like I didn't know this could happen to them too. If that makes sense, like I didn't know that things like that can happen to them too. I didn't know that. I thought that only just happened, to us as Black people. And but I realized that I need to have a little bit more compassion myself for everybody because everything that we've been through as a Black people, a lot of other races have also been through or, have had their time to go through some things, that we've gone through as a people too. So um, just have compassion, people. Just try to be understanding and try to look at, certain things through somebody else's eyes. Because again, you never know what somebody's going through and what they've been through. So just have compassion. Show a little love.
And don't assume just because of what we see that everybody is like that. I know it's hard, but we don't like being a profile. Nobody likes it. And I think that we need to keep that also in mind that um nobody likes to be profiled. My uncle, we talking about Black history, my uncle was Osmond Bell Sr., which was my mother's brother. My uncle was one of the first 3 Black sheriffs in the whole state of Mississippi. They swarm in at the same time. He was the first Black sheriff in Marshall County. My uncle was gunned down during a drug bust when I was a little girl.
Mm.
They still allowed this man to come up for parole.
He killed he killed the police officer and he was given parole.
He comes up, he didn't get parole, but the parole board meets every 10 years. So I went the last 10 years. I didn't meet this time. This time, I didn't make this last one, but I was a little girl.
They're considering letting him out.
They not they not they're not considering, but he goes before the parole board
Oh, so as a formality, he goes before the
while he's
parole board.
living. But
Oh,
in my most humble opinion, he shouldn't be given the option.
yeah. Mm. And may I ask the person who did it to your uncle what race are they?
He was a white man.
It's convenient.
Yep. In the 80s.
40 something years ago.
Yep.
What was his sentence? His sentence was life?
I think. But life don't mean the death penalty.
Yeah. He gave the death penalty, but he didn't get the death penalty.
Yeah.
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 That's convenient.
Yeah. And and I mention that because where is the justice for people that are no longer here?
Yeah.
Um, I saw early on TV where this shooting had happened here about a year ago, and they had arrested these 2 brothers. And they just been sitting in limbo, hadn't even been indicted. Come to find out, nobody saw them shoot anybody.
Mm.
Nobody saw them shoot. This was why we was the city was having, I want to say, a St. Patty's Day parade. I think. I think that's what it was. But it was some big city event. But
Mm.
nobody saw them shoot anybody.
Mm.
And when I saw that on the news today, I'm like, the system can make people criminals. Because it has happened to a couple of people dear to me.
Mm.
And for where they were sitting at for a year, that place that they were sitting at for a year, that place, I'm just glad they survived.
What color were they?
Black.
Yeah. I'm asking the question. I know the answer, and I'm asking the question,
Oh,
but I
I
know
can
the
keep
answer.
going. I could
Oh, I
keep
believe you.
on some stuff now. Let's not start talking about these welfare fraud cases. And it's TANF money that's missing from the state of Mississippi. You need to go do some research.
Who's only black people on welfare? So who?
Yeah, but look, somebody else holding the checkbook, millions, millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Mhm.
It ain't funny. He got me laughing because he'll ask a question and I answer it, and then his response is, "That's convenient. That's convenient." Yeah. So hey,
You know
no,
what it
there
is?
there won't
Hey,
be no money in welfare when they get through, because the money is being stolen, and ain't nobody went to jail but the black man. You remember that man went to jail, Frederica, the black man, the man that was the guy stole what he's like 20-some thousand dollars. I'm just saying, let's just be real. He didn't hit 100 grand. We talking about people taking millions of dollars.
so the black guy is locked up for 20 grand, but the
20 grand
millions,
plus. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
20 grand plus, but the millions.
Oh no.
Oh no. One
That's
there
convenient.
was a there was a PWI in Mississippi that received a volleyball stadium because of some of these welfare funds, allegedly.
Ain't no allegedly if he paid back $500,000. But I ain't finna call his name out. We just gonna have to send him the clip. Okay? Cause ain't no allegedly. He got that $1 million. And I just wanna know where the other 500,000 at.
What was that last? Who played? When was Brett Favre last football game?
That's what we talking about. I'm about right now.
I didn't ask that question for no reason at all. But this is why I say what I said earlier. You want to say stuff like there's justice, but they make it hard to believe that it's justice. It's really hard to believe that this thing that they call justice is blind, because it seems to see color really good, really really good. And again, I'm one of them people. I'm like, you know what? It's it's not like that. It's conspiracies and all of that kind of stuff. But then you step back and you say, okay, I'm all the way in New Jersey and I'm hearing about this. But I'm also looking for it because it ain't national news like it would be if it was another football player with a slightly darker hue.
Mm-hmm.
That would make the news.
Right. Dog fighting, right?
Oh yeah, that.
Dog fighting.
I wonder how many millions the state lost as a result of dog fighting.
Dog fighting.
I don't know. I don't
But
know.
for what it's worth, now Georgia, what's the rapper name? They had to pay him some, they had to get him his cars and stuff back. And I think they got to get him some.
Young Thug.
I think so. I'm just saying, for what it's worth, somebody got something bad.
Yeah, yeah.
This stuff is
It's
really happening.
every day. This is why it ain't even a matter what I, as a black man, right? I sit back and I watch this stuff, and it's like, yo, it don't even matter if you're innocent or guilty. If the narrative can be spent right, you are done.
Yeah,
You are done. You are
it's true.
done. And you'll spend 10 years, and there'll be some unmelanated person in the Innocence Project to believe you, take up your case, get you off, and they'll give you $1 million for 10 years of your life. If you get that. If you get that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen situations where the Innocence Project go in and prove the person's innocent, and they still won't let them go. That's what kind of justice is that? The convenient kind. So I keep saying it's convenient because, believe me, I ain't never heard about your uncle before, but I've heard about what Frederica was talking about. I've heard about that former football player whose name should remain unsaid. But I live in New Jersey, and there's a lot of different really good football players out here. Tom Brady, Brett Favre, a bunch of them, you know. And so I've never heard nothing about Tom Brady, but I don't know how to, it's convenient. It's really convenient for a lot of this stuff. And it's convenient that they're in a position to just decide, you know what, we don't want it in the schools anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Change the whole book. And I've heard that there are books out there that talk like uh slavery was the reason that a lot of people are as athletic as they are. Um, a lot of really smart people were birthed because of the benefits of sitting up under the right people and learning what they've learned. It's amazing to me. But if you talk about reparations, ain't nothing to talk about. And that's another convenient fact too, if you ask me. So
Mm-hmm.
compassion is there's a lot of areas of compassion in this country that I think we could benefit from. But I was talking about Dr. Joy DeGruy earlier, and I don't want to say too much because I think that is a worthy book to read. Even if you don't read the book, you can look up her lectures and watch those. And she talk about how, there's an effect on us in terms of slavery, but there's also an effect on the people who did it. And when we talk about this conversation that we're having, how it went full circle, and you say to yourself, those of us from the South, good old Southern folk, we've seen the pictures of our ancestors and perhaps family members we wouldn't know because that kind of stuff was destroyed. But we've seen our ancestors being burned and crowds of people standing around, not having compassion. We've heard about how people would pay to take a part or a piece of this charred body or this mutilated body or this body that's been ripped apart. How people would take the pictures and make postcards of it, of people standing around watching another person. Wasn't considered a person at the time, but it was a person. And how those people because of what they believed about that person, were desensitized to the humanity of that person and therefore didn't have compassion. So when you say, you talk about people saying, but he should have done this. I see people just standing around watching another person be unalived, not have compassion. And we talk about the full circle thing all the way over again. Because the people that are being affected are not just the people who do it, it's the people who can have a conversation and bring up the fact that this man, human being, who had tea and Skittles, who had cigarettes, who was playing with a fake gun at 10 years old, which is what 10-year-olds do, who was a nurse protesting injustice, who did have a gun, but the gun was taken. And what do they say? Well, he shouldn't have done this. It's the same people that's standing around watching a body be charred or watching somebody get lynched.
Mhm.
All of that stuff comes back into play. And so, yeah, same people who won't make a fuss about a millionaire taking millions from people who need it to eat, to actually be able to have the bare necessities to eat. Those people, but you'd be more concerned about somebody who threw a football.
Mhm.
Interesting country we live in.
Yeah,
God bless America.
very interesting. And
Yeah,
um, and we know they're good people in our races, you know.
absolutely.
And I think one important thing is if we could stop profiling, that may help with compassion.
Mm-hmm.
It's the profiling. Um, a lot of people are comfortable. I'm not talking about no particular race. I'm just saying people in general can be a little bit too comfortable because I can get in my feelings and say some stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I do my best to still be conscientious of how I treat people. And
Right.
the concern with me is just treating people in a kind of way because you think you can.
You know what? When you treat people any kind of way and there's no justice as a result of the mistreating people or treating people any kind of way, you start to believe you can treat people any kind of way.
That's true.
And the people start to believe they can be treated any kind of way.
That's true.
That's why law-abiding citizens can ride around in their car doing the speed limit, fully insured, and still worry about getting pulled over and something happening.
That's true.
That's why as something as simple as a phone call can be life-threatening to the police, depending on who you're calling on.
That's true.
So it's interesting for me. I again, and with all of the stuff that I'm bringing up sarcastically, I'm saying these things. And with even with all of that, I still wish it was compassion. I still wouldn't wish death on anybody. I
Mhm.
still wouldn't say that it's everybody that feels that way because I don't believe that. I don't believe, like, I don't like to use terms like white people because what is that? 150 million people and all of them the same? Are black people? What is that? It You act like that's one thing. We act like that's one thing. But
Mhm.
when we know that after you get a certain amount of money or you get a certain position in government, you seem to get away with everything.
Mhm.
I'm looking at this Jeffrey Epstein case and I'm seeing how hard it is it seems to be a serious effort to just keep people's name out of it. It's insane. That is insane to me. That is insane to me. Because to me, especially around that particular subject, everybody involved should rot. I don't have compassion for people who do that to children. I don't.
Right.
None
Mm.
at all. And so I think we should be digging into finding out who it is and getting them out of here. But the right amount of money or being backed by the person with the right amount of money, you get away. And I honestly don't know if somebody can tell us how to handle that. That'll be interesting. But I'm gonna be quiet for a little while. I feel like I'm talking too much.
You ain't talking too much. Is
Right.
it Frederica?
Mm-mm. You fine. I barely have a voice today, so I'm kind of chilling. But yeah, having having compassion in all those situations that y'all talked about, it's just sometimes it can be hard and it can be overwhelming. It's just
Mm-hmm.
because there's so much going on. Like I've been watching different like memes and videos of this video that went viral of
Mm-hmm.
this mom. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but there's this autistic child who was attacking his mom. He was having an
An episode.
episode. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was having an episode, and he was just attacking his mom. And so you see all these like comments of people just, oh, well, you should bring him over here. I bet you I'll teach him and da 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 da. And I'm like, do y'all not realize that first of all, this is a child, and the things that some of these folks were talking about doing to this child was just, oh, Lord have mercy. Some of y'all have, when I say zero compassion, I mean zero compassion. Um, First of all, dealing with children, period, takes a different kind of patience. Lord have
Yeah.
mercy. Whether you are a mother or whether you are a father, having children takes a different type of patience and it takes a different type of compassion as a parent. Um, but to add, you know, that child being autistic on top of that takes it up 100 different levels. And, I work in the healthcare field and I do work with children with special needs. And those kids, when I tell you they are some of the smartest, most kind, most respectful, and sometimes the most well behaved children in the world. And I hear a lot of people say, oh, that's because they took their meds today. Oh, that's because of this. Oh, that's because of that. Like, girl, hush. Like, you have no idea because autism looks different in everybody, not just because of race, but autism looks different in everybody. And so, in this situation where, this young man was attacking his mom, from my understanding and doing my little bit of research, it was one of the days where I guess they may have been snowed in or something had happened. And so he was off his routine. And a lot of times when people have like autism and different things like that, they're used to being in a routine. They're used to doing things at a certain time,
Mhm.
going places at a certain time on certain days. So when you begin to take them out of their routine, it agitates them. And I'm not making excuses for this young man whatsoever, but what I'm saying is you have to have compassion because you don't know what it takes to be a parent with a special needs child. So you have to look at it from their perspective. Like, first of all, this may have been just an isolated incident, or this may have been something that may have escalated, and maybe mom wasn't really paying attention to, okay, this is escalating. This is just not, this is outside of his norm. And you don't know what else that mom was going through, what else she had going on. It could have been something else going on in the family, something going on with her. Maybe she had some health issues of her own, and she's trying to take care of herself as well as take care of him. You just never know. So just having that little bit of compassion will allow you to kind of just look at things in a different perspective, and see that, she had control of the situation. It may not have looked like she didn't have control, but she had control of the situation. Sometimes, depending on the type of autism that these children have, you got to just let them get it out. Just let them get it out, because otherwise they're not think something even worse could happen. Let me just put it like that. So sometimes you have to just let them get it out. I hear kids screaming all day, and not just because, oh, I don't want to get a shot, oh, this and that. No, it's just they have autism, and sometimes when they have those tantrums, you just have to let them get it out. There's no oh, get control of him, get control of her, you need to do this, you need to do that. Again, autism looks different in everybody, and some kids just like to just, they're calm, and then all of a sudden they take off running. Some of them, they have to be mentally stimulated all the time, so they have to have like a game, or something in their hands to fidget with. And some kids just love to talk. It's always talking, 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 talking. Some kids like to read books, and some kids are just, you just never know. So having compassion for those type of situations is so needed in this day and time, because we are seeing an increase of the kids with autism and ADHD. And to have a child that has both autism and ADHD, oh, listen, healthcare is a different type of industry. If you literally don't have a heart and don't have a compassion for people, healthcare is not for you.
I think in that particular arena, a lot of people are not even aware of how like the autism spectrum even works. So people talking that way are probably ignorant of what autism is and how it actually works. I have a cousin who has some kids with autism, and so I've been exposed to it, and I know based on that experience with them, like you said, those can be some of the most intelligent, well-behaved children out there. Um, they just happen to be on that spectrum, and so people who don't understand that, um, it would be hard for somebody to have compassion for them, because I think in order to have compassion for somebody, you have to see value in them first. And if you don't see value in a human being, you can't I don't know how you can value a person and not have compassion for the person. Even if a person is doing something wrong, there's a level of compassion simply based on their humanity that you can have for them. Now, people can behave in such a way that would uh, that could remove your ability to view them as a human, and therefore you can't. It would be difficult for you to have compassion. But generally, you have to view a person as a person, and then also you have to value personhood or people. And so when you see people not having compassion, that I think that we have to that's where we have to explore their why don't you view this person as a human? Because I haven't seen what you're talking about, but I'm assuming if you know that the child has autism, there's something in the description that says the child has autism. So if a person just clicked the video without reading, well, reading is fundamental. For the people who read it, I'm assuming if you have something to say about it, you would try to be informed about what's happening. And if you read it and you still got something to say about it, talking about bringing a autistic child to you so you can correct them, that's interesting. Because you're probably someone who's never dealt with an autistic child and a person with special needs. And again, that's one of those areas where you have to see value in the person, the individual person, in order to have compassion for it. Because the mother, I'm certain, still values her child, even in the episode, even in that moment. And the mother knowing how essential, um, what's the word I'm looking for? You just said it. Routine is for people who are on the spectrum. If you get snowed in, you break routine. That's a recipe for disaster a lot in that situation. So when you factor in all of that, if somebody can't have compassion for that, then the issue is not the person. The issue is not the situation or the person that they can't have compassion for. It's them. It's them. And there are people who don't have compassion. They're if I'm not mistaken, you can clinically call them psychopaths, but I don't know. But yeah, that's definitely something we gotta. I think that we as human beings experiencing each other's humanity in reality will develop compassion. We can develop compassion for people, for other people. I think that I would say that's Letha seems to be somebody with a lot of compassion, and I don't know her. Y'all know I don't know her in like real, in actual like. I haven't been in the same room as her before, but
Mhm.
I'm certain that you've experienced other people's reality, quite a few other people's reality,
Mhm.
and that allows you to be compassionate to people, irrespective of the level of the chemical melanin in their skin.
Mhm.
And you can judge people by the content of their character.
Mhm.
I'm sure it was a black man somewhere that said something about that. But yeah, just experiencing each other's humanity. I think that is the thing that allows us to have compassion. And unfortunately, we a lot of our experience of humanity comes from the TV with a narration
Mhm.
um, from people who are outraged about stuff that didn't happen to them, have a lot to say about stuff that they don't know.
Mhm.
Um, is yeah, that's one of those things that, again, I wholeheartedly believe in order to have compassion for anybody, you have to see their God-given value. Um, and a person that can't have compassion, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah. Yes, it is, and hopefully, um, we can continue to be more empathetic and more compassion about people. And hopefully we can encourage people not to profile other people. Because people profile other people. And it doesn't just come from a racial standpoint. It doesn't just come from other races. So um I think that this narrative needs to be, how do I want to be treated? What if this is me? You know, I'll use my hair for an example. You know, I could walk in somewhere for a service and somebody looking at my head, and it could be us and like, oh my God, I don't even want to deal with all of that. It happens. And so I think that people don't tend to put themselves in that position. Like, how would you feel if somebody treated you like this? Just truly, how would you feel? Um, I had the privilege today to go to Hines Community College, a little bit of town, Utica, Mississippi, not too far. And I spoke to the cosmetology class. And I didn't do the script, I didn't do none of that. I walked in, I'm like, hey, let me give y'all a little bit about myself. I was like, look, came out the womb doing hair. Hair is my ministry. You got to have a passion for what you do. When you got a passion for even what you do, it's a certain way on how you treat people. People should not lead people that don't have a passion to lead people.
Mm.
And y'all done seen some of the posts I made, and that was even before this past year. I've been making posts for the past couple years about leadership. Bullies should not be in leadership.
Mm.
I don't care who it is. People that are grown, that throw 2-year-old tantrums, should not be in a leadership position. And I'm not even talking about one specific person or no one group of people. I've been saying this for years. When you got a passion for what you do, you treat people a certain way. Because if you ain't got a passion for it, then either you gonna do it in a manner to where you don't care, or you end up doing it in a manner to you want to show people that you're in control. And I tell people that. I tell people on jobs, if you got it on these schools, these school districts, I mean, on any level. I don't care if you're working for DHS. If you don't have a passion for people, you really shouldn't be doing what you're doing. You should have a passion. I tell anybody, take money out of it. Money will come. People hit the lottery every day, all day. Having $1 million ain't gonna mean you're gonna be rich in the next 60 days. You know how many people go broke in 60 days after they hit the lotto? People leave folks money all the time and they still end up broke. I'm just saying. But when you don't have a passion for what you do, you're not going to have a passion for the people that you deal with. And I think that people should not be allowed to remain and exist in a space. I ain't saying knock nobody out, but I don't think people should be allowed to exist in a space. You shouldn't be out there. You shouldn't be a police officer if you ain't got a passion for it. You shouldn't be a school teacher if you ain't got passion for it. You should not be a nurse if you ain't got passion for it. You shouldn't be a CNA if you ain't got passion for it. You should not be working at no makeup counter nowhere if you ain't got passion for what you do. You should not be out here volunteering, doing community service, unless it's court order. Okay, court order, I can understand. But other than court order, you should not be doing volunteer stuff if it truly ain't what you got a passion to do. You shouldn't be in no pulpit if you ain't got passion. You shouldn't run no funeral home if you ain't got passion. Why you taking out of black folks' life insurance money?
Mm.
But that's
Mm.
another topic of discussion. But I said it because we put more money in the ground than anybody else. I said it. I said it because it's the truth. I told my sister, I got a backyard. That's what my yard for. If you can't celebrate me while I'm living, and I'm gonna leave that alone. But however, you should have a passion for what you do, in my most humble opinion.
Mm.
You know, and when you don't have a passion, you tend to treat people in it. It's like you mad because of where you at. Leave. Ain't no need to making everybody else miserable. Nobody is gonna miss a miserable individual that holds a space and makes stuff rough on everybody else. Just give it up. I don't care who it is. Because unless I can truly be passionate about whatever space that I'm in, I'm not gonna have a good impact on nobody else. I'm toxic. I'm what you call Joyce Rogers' book, bless her soul. She was a part of the Kojic church, but she was good. Fatal Distraction. And that book
Mm.
came from a different angle, not from that angle, but I'm just saying, you're still fatal and you're out here causing all these distractions. So I think people need to have a passion for what they do. I don't think people should be allowed to remain in space and they're not passionate for what they do. I was asking people today, why are you going in this industry? Why? Because you need to know why. It don't need to be because I ain't had nothing else to do. It need to be you need to have a reason why. And whether I don't care. You work for the marathon selling crunchy chicken. You need to have passion. That man that work at one that I know, that man got passion. You hear me? That man got passion for frying that chicken. His chicken, everybody else chicken ain't like his. And his biscuits different. You gotta
Mm.
have passion for what you do. You don't get up and do what you do just to do what you do. You got
Oh, not
passion
at
for
all.
what you do.
Not at all.
Frederica don't do what she do just because. She got passion for what she do. And ain't nothing worse. Well, it's a lot of things worse, but one thing that's real bad is being around people in a space and they want to make their presence known and you know they ain't happy because now they want to make everybody else unhappy. Because misery love company. Are you that upset with yourself? And I'm gonna end with this. I'm gonna let one of y'all end it. Y'all remember the movie Lean on Me?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Okay. So one of the young guys in there, he got caught smoking crack.
Mm.
Joe Clark took him to the top of the building, told him to jump. He say, I don't want to jump. He say, yes, you do. He say, no, I don't. He say, yes, you do. You smoke crack, don't you? You smoke crack, don't you? Look at me, boy. Don't you smoke crack? Well, I want to say, if you want to kill yourself, don't mess around, do it. Don't mess around with it. Do it expeditiously. I'm literally quoting the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jump. If you're that miserable with yourself, don't make the rest of us miserable. That's my point. Remove yourself from the equation. And I didn't say kill yourself. I'm saying just move yourself from the equation. People are
Uh,
miserable on their jobs. People are miserable in their ministries. People are miserable in their political organizations, social organizations. If you do not like a space that you are in, remove yourself.
right.
Because in that moment, what you did, you gave everybody else more life, you gave everybody else hope, and you gave yourself an opportunity to maybe spend a little bit more time with yourself and do some things that add more time to your life. Because I don't see you adding time to your life and you around here making everybody else's life miserable. That was a young lady that just passed. And I'm gonna let y'all finish, but we are talking about Black history. And I've been following her for a while. I was on the phone with my friend girl. And when I saw that Shirley Raines had died, I literally was on the phone with my friend girl. And I just got so emotional. And the reason I got emotional is because she had a passion for what she did.
Hmm.
And she poured into all people. She was out there in LA doing so. I didn't even know, because when I was telling my friend girl about it, she had never heard about it. So I was sending her screenshots. So she started reading stuff. All I followed is what she do. I didn't know that she had got the NAACP Image Awards. I never knew none of that. All I've been doing is just following her out there in them streets, feeding people, making sure people were clothed, making sure people had shelter. This was her lifestyle. This is what she did. She took her pain of losing a child and poured into doing stuff positive to help other people. Could you imagine somebody out feeding people and then they doing it with an attitude? She called all men king, called all women queen.
Hmm.
And she had a passion and she had empathy and compassion for all people. All people. I mean, it's 7 days a week. For the past probably year plus, I've been looking at her 6 days. Cause
Hmm.
this I like things to motivate me and empower me and make me feel better sometimes. I need good stuff every day. I need to laugh every day. And I need stuff to empower me every day. Outside, that's just me personally. That helps with my personal thoughts and stuff. It helps with my anxiety. It helps with things that I struggle with. So when I saw that, it did something to me, like it did so many other people. And to see that she touched so many people of all races. You got people that's just going in places, spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on food, just going out, passing out stuff, trying to just let people know that her memory is still living. This is the impact that she had on people. But what gets me upset, because I'm getting emotional, we live in a country whether you vote or not, whether you're a W-2 employee or not, if you exist in this particular country, you're paying taxes in some shape, form, or fashion. You either paying it at the grocery store, the gas station, at your paycheck, on your car tag, no matter what, if you exist in this particular country. Why do we have homeless? No, I'm going to rephrase that. There should be no, because I'm not even going to ask the question why. There should be no, regardless of people's issues. There should be no hunger and no homelessness. It should be zero. And you got people out here, and she's just one of many. She most definitely is not the only one. But I've been following her for a little while. You get what I'm saying? But the government got money to go mess with them crazy folks in Iran. Why we ain't got money to feed people? We got money for war. We ain't got money to feed people. You finna sue the government. You finna sue the taxpayers. Forget the ones that didn't vote for you. You finna sue the folks that voted for you. Cause if they award anything in your favor, it's coming out their check too.
Yeah.
And I'm not pinning this on one person. I'm pinning this on generations and generations of things that have been occurring. And the way I look at it, the Lord ain't pleased. You can't stop the weather. You can't control the weather. Ain't nothing nobody can convince me that nobody will convince me that you can control the weather. I will not believe that. Famine, chaos, war, plague, plague. And I ain't talking about the coronavirus. This measles outbreak is truly among us. And folks got the nerve not to have compassion. You don't never know who you're going to need. Rich people need help too. Rich people need help too. Because my theory is it's the latter that know how to survive. I'm concerned about people that ain't never had to wash their clothes on their hands and ain't never been without no lights. Ain't never been stranded on the side of the road. I'm concerned about people that ain't never had to drink water for a couple of meals.
Hmm.
I'm just saying. I'm concerned about people who too good for hand-me-downs. I'm concerned about people. You don't know what it's like to Mama's Meals on Wheels box. I do. I ain't ashamed. Mine even didn't need it. But they got it anyway because it was theirs. They paid their taxes. That was part of the way they get some of their tax money back. But there was times even within the past few years since COVID, I done went and got in a line or two or three or four. And when I saw them cars in the line, all them Cadillacs and all of them other vehicles, there's no embarrassment in not being too proud, but you ought to be ashamed to be so evil and vindictive.
Mm.
So people, if y'all not just for Black history, up to date.
Mm.